The 20th century was a time of innovation, growth, and prosperity, but it was also a time of financial fraud, deception, and scams. In this video, we'll be exploring some of the scams and the individuals behind them. Charles Ponzi's scheme. In the early 1900s, Charles Ponzi concocted one of the most notorious financial scams in history, now known as the Ponzi scheme. Ponzi promised investors a 50% return on their investment in just 45 days. His scheme worked by using money from new investors to pay off earlier investors, but in reality, Ponzi was just pocketing the money. He eventually defrauded investors out of millions of dollars and was arrested and sent to prison. Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme. In 2008, Bernie Madoff was arrested for running the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Over the course of decades, Madoff had lured investors with promises of high returns, using money from new investors to pay off old investors. When the scheme collapsed, Madoff had defrauded investors out of billions of dollars. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison. The South Sea Bubble. In 1720, the South Sea Company was formed in England to help finance the government's debt. The company's stock price soared, and investors rushed to buy shares. However, the company's executives had made false promises about the profits the company would make, and the stock price eventually collapsed. The scheme caused a financial crisis in England, and the company's directors were charged with fraud. The Telex-free scandal. In 2014, Telex-free, a multi-level marketing company based in Brazil, was exposed for running a pyramid scheme. The company promised investors huge returns for promoting its VoIP services, but in reality, it was just using money from new investors to pay off old investors. The scheme defrauded investors out of hundreds of millions of dollars, and its founders were arrested. The Madoff feeders. The Madoff Ponzi scheme didn't just involve Bernie Madoff himself. Many other individuals and companies, known as Madoff feeders, had invested their clients' money with Madoff, and were complicit in the fraud. These feeders, who included hedge funds, banks, and investment advisors, had turned a blind eye to the red flags and warning signs of Madoff's scam. The Panama Papers. In 2016, the Panama Papers scandal rocked the world when it was revealed that a Panamanian law firm, Mossack Fonseca, had helped wealthy individuals and corporations hide their money in offshore tax havens. The scheme involved creating shell companies and using them to move money around the world, avoiding taxes and regulations. The scandal implicated politicians, celebrities, and businessmen from around the globe. The MLM pyramid schemes. Multi-level marketing, or MLM, companies have long been accused of running pyramid schemes, in which participants earn money by recruiting new members rather than selling products. Some of the most notorious MLMs include Herbalife, Amway, and Mary Kay. These companies have faced numerous lawsuits and regulatory actions, but they continue to operate today. The Tulip Mania. In the 1630s, the Netherlands experienced a speculative bubble in tulip bulbs. Tulips had become a symbol of wealth and status, and their prices skyrocketed. Investors were buying and selling tulip bulbs for huge sums of money, but the bubble eventually burst, and the tulip market collapsed. The scheme left many investors ruined, and it became a cautionary tale about the dangers of speculative bubbles. The Parmalat scandal. In 2003, Parmalat, an Italian dairy company, was exposed for fraud and accounting irregularities. The company had created fake subsidiaries and bank accounts to hide its debts, and its executives had falsified financial statements to deceive investors. The scheme defrauded investors out of billions of dollars, and the company went bankrupt. Its founder, Callisto Tansi, was sentenced to 18 years in prison. The Nigerian email scam. The Nigerian email scam, also known as the 419 scam, is a type of advance fee scam in which the scammer promises a large sum of money in exchange for a small advance payment. The scam is often conducted via email, and the scammers use various tactics to convince their victims to send them money. The scheme has been around for decades, but it continues to fool unsuspecting victims around the world. In some cases, victims have lost their life savings to the scammers. The Bre-X Minerals scandal. In the 1990s, Bre-X Minerals, a Canadian mining company, claimed to have discovered a massive gold deposit in Indonesia. The company's stock price skyrocketed, and it became one of the most valuable companies in Canada. However, it was later revealed that the company had been falsifying their findings and forging documents to support their claims. The scheme collapsed, and investors lost everything. The scandal led to the suicide of Bre-X's geologist, and the company's CEO fled to Indonesia, where he died under mysterious circumstances. The Enron scandal. In 2001, Enron, one of the largest energy companies in the United States, was exposed for fraud and accounting irregularities. The company had created off-balance sheet entities to hide its debts, and its executives had falsified financial statements to deceive investors. The scheme defrauded investors out of billions of dollars, and the company went bankrupt. Its founder, Ken Lay, and CEO, Jeffrey Skilling, were both sentenced to prison. We hope you enjoyed learning about these notorious financial schemes and the individuals who orchestrated them. Remember, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Stay vigilant and always do your due diligence before investing your hard-earned money. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.